Hey yo, how's it going, guys? What is up? Sora's back once again after a long hiatus in the YouTube zone. Yeah, I've not uploaded any YouTube videos for a while because, Guild War was one of I'm pretty damn sure you guys already know by now how or what kind of what kind of shit we have to go through Guild War every single time, right? So, just want to provide you a little bit of updates and not to mention talk about a little bit of the extra update that we got like yesterday. By the time you see this video, is already considered yesterday. So yeah, let's just jump right into that. Hey, so how's everybody doing? Especially when it comes to like your progression on Guild War. Hit me up in the comments below how was Guild War for you anyway. So I just wanted to do a little bit of update on what happened after Guild War and how things were going. So, all thanks to the amount of boxes I did for Guild War, I managed to get quite a bit of the fodders that I needed for the weapons that I needed to upgrade. So, all thanks to that, I finally managed to finish a total of 5 opuses. So that's great. Like all the ones that I managed to do at least once, do the Lucifer Heart once has already been completed. So, yeah, I got that going for me. So the only ones that is left right now is just fire. Only fire ones that's left. So by the time I done that, you probably see a video of that coming up soon, which is very likely me getting carried. Because my fire is pretty much shit right now. And then thanks to that, I managed to max out like skill level 20 all 5 of them. I managed to do only 2 so far. I still have like a few more fodders left, but mostly has to do with like the lack of SSR fodders now. So I'm a little bit worried on the on my last one. But that's one of the reasons why I'm doing daily Magna once again, because just so I can get more and more fodders, because we always need that for for obvious reasons, right? Oh, and besides that, I have not updated my loadout for quite a while now. I'm probably gonna do that fairly soon. I do apologize, because one of the major things that I did change was to get ready for the upcoming Guild War, which is gonna be in July, which is Water Favorite. I did manage to make a granny bow, because I guess that's actually pretty nice to have, for, especially for the old EX Plus thing. So with this Siete Summer Grail lineup, it does allow me to get it done with just Bonito setup. Just the Bonito setup. I managed to get the third skill thing, really makes a whole huge difference. Like the number just increased a hell lot thanks to that. And I used the Granny Bow just for this grid as well. It seems to be really good to put in there. I mean, I did farm up to 4 Europa Harps and a Cosmos Harp way before this, so I decided to just make full use of that. And then I swapped in like the Xeno Harp instead of the staff, because this thing has slightly more stats after all. And a full Lumberbrick Seraph is definitely helpful as well. So this grid does allow me to, I don't know, get 3 buttons set up, I think, for EX Plus with Bonito. It does look like it, but I haven't really tried to test it like lesser buttons. But I guess I'll just put a snippet of what I actually did, or what I'm planning to, or how do I tend to kill with the EX Plus. So here it is. It's kind of like an overkill, but maybe I don't even need the linkage. I haven't not tested it yet, but yeah. Oh, and besides that, I did upgrade it like recently on my light as well, because I fully upgraded the Opus weapon to get like a skill level 20. I did make that to 5 stars already a while back, like before Guild War even started, but I finally made it to skill level 20, and I decided to make another Eden because I have one spare, and now my light is great. I just used up my bars and stuff. Okay, so I know a lot of people will probably ask me, why is there 2 chambers? Just to keep in mind that this is supposed to be swapped into Ogi Cap, because I wanted this to be chain burst. I wanted to use this as the chain burst effect, because you know, if you're using the whole chain burst effect, the Ogi is actually giving you extra meter, you know, similar as the Xeno thing, just so you can you know, get extra meter or whatever stuff. So it just stacks, right, with this too. So yeah, this is supposed to be swapped, but I don't really want to swap it yet because I'm mostly not really using my light all that much right now. Mostly using my earth and my wind and stuff. So when it comes to that, I am still using the Ultima Sword, which stacks together with my Opus. So yeah, that's why. So beside my light is done, I also planning to make my fire done, which is here. I'm gonna go into it slightly later in the video because I want to mention something about the changes of the Primal has been done recently and all that stuff. So this empty slot I was planning to do with putting Ixaba in there. I just needed a 3rd skill for my Opus, and then I should be okay with that. And then yeah, I'll go into the whole soldier thing shortly. But yeah, planning to switch Agni very soon, so I'm pretty excited for that. Besides that, I don't think I have really much else to really say, like in terms of like updates. So yeah, that's it on my update portion. Do let me know how have you guys been, like in terms of like progressing through your Guild War characters and all that stuff. Would like to know, hit me up in the comments below. I still read them. Whether or not me replying is a whole different story though. Okay, so now we are going into the whole update that was just updated like yesterday, right? And first things first, obviously, Soldier is one of it. And you probably will be wondering, what do I think about the Soldier class and all that stuff? What about the class weapon? All that good stuff. I'm just gonna try to break down as much as possible in a very short period of time. So I'm just gonna try and summarize everything as I can, just to make it simple for you guys, because I did mention a lot or like discuss a lot with my crewmates yesterday and all that stuff. But alright, let's just jump right into it. Alright, so first and foremost, the skills, I would say there are some meme ones, I would say, and some isn't really that great. First things first, all I can say is that Fortitude is probably like the best one I can tell so far, because the whole supplemental damage is really great. From what I can tell, like from my crewmates been testing out so far, it adds up like a 50k ish damage cap, so extra 50k on top with like all your extra nuking damage and all that stuff, you know, you get from the soldier class itself is just really good. I mean, the boost to crit rate is just kind of nice, I guess. The whole jam thing is great, but you don't really need the whole jam thing anyways. It's a nice plus altogether. I mean, it lasts for 5 turns, by the way. It lasts for freaking 5 turns, and it has like 8 turn cooldown, so it only has like 3 turn downtime. So it's really nice. And the other one was definitely probably just open fire. It just gives you like a massive amount of like nukes, and you just probably get like a crazy amount of damage from just your nukes and stuff. And besides that, the whole blitz burst thing, from what I can see, it's okay, but it's like, it's just, I would say the cooldown is probably the downside of that. It's just like, if you planning to use like a really long a long range setup, I wouldn't really say Soldier is all that great, because I do feel like Soldier is probably meant for like the whole super bursty kind of feeling. You could probably use this for if you want to burst out and stuff, but I don't think you really want that. But it's really up to you. It's just really up to your playstyle, really. There are times probably you want to use this, probably sometimes you don't really want to use it at all, but it's really your call. It's not too bad, but at the same time, I feel like the whole boost to charge bar based on number of bullets used is kind of like whatever. It doesn't really matter all that much. You just really use this just for that anytime assassin thing. You just really want to use that, honestly. Guerrilla tactics, I feel like it's kind of like a meme right now, because from what I can see, the dodge rate by itself is pretty darn insignificant. It's like it doesn't even feel like it's there. I feel like if you really want to make this work, you need to like stack it with like your other characters that gives you or provide some sort of extra dodge percentage mechanic, all that stuff to actually make this work. But if you have those kind of setups which allows you to dodge relatively efficiently, right, and then you do this 4-hit superior elemental damage thing, that shit hurts a lot. If you manage to get your cap out relatively high, that is actually really good. If you don't really have that kind of setup, there's really no reason for you to use guerrilla tactics at all. The class weapon itself, you'll be wondering whether if it's even worth getting on, like, you know, whenever you want to use gunslinger and stuff. I would definitely say if you want to properly use the class, it's definitely worth getting the class weapon, because if you don't get the class weapons, you have like a limited amount of weapon choices to use, because most of the weapons doesn't really have like the 6 bullets set up on the weapon itself. So you really kind of want to get that. And besides that, not only that, the really important one is that on Ogi you reload bullets, so you don't really have to use the lock and load reload the whole rock and reload thing mechanic from your gunslinger stuff. Yeah, you really don't need to do that at all. Just Ogi and just like, yeah, that's why even back then the whole Nebuchad main hand thing is significant to have if you're using gunslinger and stuff, right? If you want to use, like, you know, on like a daily basis, like go through like first 10 turns or more than that, yeah, you definitely need a class weapon. Besides that, if you're planning to do like a super burst heavy kind of setup, like just, you know, probably use like 3 turns max, I think you can probably make do with some other weapons, you know, like some grand weapons that are guns that have 6 slots. For example, AK is one of it. Mostly grand weapons, I would say AK. I think Benedia has it as well, for like 6 slots on those. Alright, so on the other hand, we have the whole bullet stuff. We have brand new bullets introduced as well, and you'll be wondering if you should get it. But yes, obviously you should get it, but the problem is you probably want to just farm. Yeah, probably have to take a long time to just farm them, right? Because, you know, the whole standard break stuff, you know, all this iron clusters and shit, it's probably gonna take you a while. You want to get, like, you know, the standard setup. I'm pretty sure if you use like the old gunslinger setup, it's still usable until today. I'm pretty damn sure. You don't really have to get like any fancy new ones, like for example, like the gold bullet, because the gold bullet costs like all I can say is this gold bullet costs a massive amount of materials. Just keep that in mind. This thing costs a lot, because you need to make two of the level 5 full metal jacket, and just to get one of these, just to get one of these, and you need 2 of these, so you need a total of 2 level 5s, and you know, level 5s is pretty darn hard to get, as you can tell from just looking like and all this amount of materials you need to get. Because you see, you need to go like tier by tier, right? Because it costs like 1 bullet, this costs 2 bullets, this costs 5 bullets, and this costs another 5 bullets. From what I can tell, honestly, the whole gold bullet thing is not even worth getting anyway, because the whole CA specs isn't really significant at all, like in terms of like the chances for it to proc anyway. So yeah, besides that, you don't really have to, you know, bother with mashing all these other bullets types. I'm pretty sure you can just reuse back the same ones that you probably will be using for like the old gunslinger setup. And I just want to point out another thing is that because now we have like the whole, you guys remember the whole 20 boxing video I had a while ago telling you like why is it so good and shit? Now those kind of events are even more important to have right now, especially if you want to go for like the whole soldier setup or whatever, right? Alright, so you'll be definitely wanting to do more of the boxing events, especially because it provides you all the treasure stuff, and all these treasures include like the snow bricks and stuff. like especially when it comes to all this prosperity flame, or like the, you know, as if you go back to the whole rifle thing again, like all this sand brick stuff, all these stuff are actually provided when you farm those boxes. So it's actually really good if you farm those boxes, because along the way you can get your crystals and all this extra stuff if you want to use soldier in the future. So moving on the whole John Doe, you'll be wondering what kind of emblem you're planning, what kind of emblem you want to make for that weapon, right? And all I can say is that from what I can see so far, based on my experience or whatever I've seen so far, my crewmates have been testing and shit, from what I've seen, the only one worth using is Divinity, because from what I noticed, you just really want to increase your skill cap altogether, and because this skill allows you to nuke whenever you just don't take any damage, right? And this nuke is quite significant, especially when you're using in, you know, when you have all the skill cap included and all that stuff, which also includes like the, you know, your MC's EMP, your Ultima Opus and all that stuff. I know some people are probably thinking that maybe Devilry is good, but I also kind of felt like the whole Devilry buff is kind of clunky, because it's based on your number of bullets remaining, right? And from what I can tell, it's 5% on each bullet. So you have a maximum of 6 bullets. You can only get like 30% at the beginning, and then you're out of bullets already. So it's kind of like, it's kind of pointless, right? In a way, it feels very clunky, because you need to like time your attacks really well for that one. So just to make things a whole lot easier, you just really want to stick to Divinity, because the whole nuke thing, because not like your MC really gonna get hit majority of the time, right? And the whole humanity thing just gets you guts. It's like, do you really need that? I don't think you do. Alright, so the final part of Soldier will be wondering which element you probably want to make the whole class weapon for, right? And I would say probably like the ones that you can really make full use of, or like go like all the way into the top. I would definitely say Fire is like the obvious choice, because you have so many characters that just increases your cap altogether. It just allows you to nuke even further, because Soldier is kind of like a class that is very burst heavy, and also not to mention it's also kind of heavily focused on the whole extra nukes in the exact same turn kind of thing. You have other characters in Fire that does that as well. I mean, you have like Athena, you have some Ilsa, and then you have character, you know, like you have a character like Esther that increases your cap even more, or you can even use like Shiva to give you extra cap or more damage. All that stuff, it just makes things a whole lot better, and you're just like probably your Esther skill for turn itself is just gonna be really crazy with her. I mean, obviously you could just say that Runeslayer does the same thing, but Soldier can do it too, but it's probably not as strong. It's just really based on your preference anyway, because end of the day, probably is still going to be Runeslayer anyway when it comes to like, you know, mashing for that specific just super burst one turn thing, because you can really never really neglect that whole 80% echo thing from Runeslayer anyway. But no, moving on. We are not talking about Runeslayer, but besides Fire, there's that I could totally picture Soldier being used in like other elements, like say for example Wind, Light, and Dark. I would say these 3 elements is also another set of elements that can really make full use of this whole the John Doe gun setup thingy, because for Wind, for example, you already have characters that have so much buffs, so much crazy debuffs. You don't even need your MC to do anything about it. So you just have your characters just buffs you up, and then everything just works out. It's just really that simple. For Light, you can also make use of the Akasha bow, because you have characters that, you know, emphasize to use all that kind of setup to increase the damage or even more, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. Then Dark, you have like, you know, you don't really have to use Eustace, but Eustace is great as well. You can use Eustace 6 and then put Wolf and Renee in there. It just, yeah, there's like possible choices to actually make full use of those. So when it comes to like water, it's like I totally can picture that being used, because you probably see like there's only like 2 very mediocre characters that you can probably use, and it's not, I wouldn't really say they're that great. I mean, wait, not 2, 3, but you know, I just felt like they're relatively weak in comparison to like the other characters you can actually use on other elements. And then for Earth, you can probably do it when it comes when the whole rebalance comes out. Anyway, by the time you see this video, you may probably see it, like the whole rebalance changes thing, but I have not seen it yet, so just keep that in mind. Yeah, but for Earth, it's kind of like you're probably using Octo most of the time. I guess you can slightly kind of use it if you want, but you always have Octo in there, so it's kind of like why not, I suppose. But yeah, anyway, that's really about it for my whole so-called, I guess, impressions or my thoughts on Soldier. But let's jump into the final part of the whole patch thing that I really wanted to talk about. Alright, the last thing I wanted to talk about was the changes. Well, not really last thing. The second last thing I want to talk about was the whole turn number changing thing, where they changed the number. Like, the turn number of the battles will now be displayed at the battle start at the end of the previous turn instead of right after tapping the attack button. For the quests that consist of multiple battles, they spelled that wrongly, the turn number will now continue on to the next battle. So this thing is, I would say, it's kind of wonky, especially if you're refreshing a lot. Because from what I can see, right, because it's the end of the previous turn, so if you refresh early, you can see it. If you refresh like a little bit later, just like when you do it just right after like a certain amount of waiting time, you want to delay a little bit so you just don't have the lockout thing all the time. If you do that, you will not see the turn number at all, which is really, really wonky, I would say. It's so weird, because I kept thinking like, why can't the whole turn number, turn counter thing just being shown on like the screen at all times? And then just +1 every time you press the number, the attack button, you know, or like if this thing goes through or whatever, the turn number will always be shown there. It just adds the number every time you just, you know, when you press the orange button every time. Because now it's just so weird. When I was playing like so much yesterday, I couldn't really tell, like, especially when like raids like say Baja Echa or whatever, you just go through multiple turns non-stop, like really in a quick succession. You just go through and then you'll be like, what turn am I in? You can't really tell. I always have to like check my your Jutens or Eternals, the skill 4 cooldown, just to check what turn am I in. Because I can't really tell like what turn am I in just by matching all that stuff. Just really can't tell. So that's the thing I would really say about this change, and I don't really like this change at all. I would honestly prefer to have them stuck with the old update, where, you know, when you just click the button it shows the turn there. That's a lot better, because I can actually physically see like the number every time I press attack. So it makes more sense that way. But I'm not sure why they changed this. I guess it makes more sense this way, but it doesn't make, at the same time, it just doesn't make sense for me, especially when you want to play the game properly. It's like, yeah, I can totally understand if you just press the orange button and watch through all the animations, then yeah, it makes sense. But I'm very, very certain not a lot of people will do that, unless you're like the first time, you're still relatively new to the game and stuff like that. You want to like look through all the animations, like, whoa, look at all these cute ugly animations, all the yeah, and all that shit. Yeah, I can totally understand that, but especially when you want to like just mash to get as much score as fast as you can, you would just want to refresh every time, right? So it's weird. It's weird. So yeah, I just really wish they just put the whole turn number thing on screen at all times, just to solve everybody's problems. Just leave it there on the screen. I'm pretty sure there's space for that. I'm not sure why they have not done that yet. Alright, the last part I wanted to mention about this is gonna be fairly short. It has something to do with the whole Primal critical mechanic. It has finally been fixed. It is now working the exact same way as Magna's now. So whenever you see a critical stat in the Primal, say for example the obvious example is the ancient XX or XX, whatever you want to call the twigs thing from Flame Glass or Twin Elements. That weapon is now usable in Agni Grids. It is 100% usable right now because it works exactly like how the Magna version works. So yes, it just makes you allow you to crit like crazy and stuff. So especially right now because of these change, weapons like Benedia is apparently really good. So I remember seeing a video, I think one of the whalers shared, he made like 5 Benedias or some shit in his grid and it was like blowing out of control. He was just using 5 Benedias, nothing else, and he was just critting all day, every day, just capping non-stop. It's just, apparently look, it's pretty darn nuts. So it's great that they finally changed it so you can actually switch to... So for now, I would definitely say that Agni free to play is definitely worth playing again because of this change. Because you can use those twigs or XX, and then you can even include like the likes of like Athena Spear and shit if you want to have like more multi-attack consistency. You can put in like the Rise of the Beast weapons, and then you have your Opus and all that stuff. You can have just one Ixabar. Bro, it's just really, really good right now, I would say. So yes, this is a really good update. So yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy it, and thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys leave a like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. If you find this helpful, make sure you share it to your whoever that plays this game, I guess. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully I see you guys on the next video or on stream. Bye.